Hi guys, I hope that you're all doing well. Today's lesson is about cofunctions or co-ratios. When I introduced this in the first video of the trigonometry playlist, I told you guys that this is where we swap between sine and cos. And in this video, you'll know exactly what I meant by that. So before we continue, we have to update our case diagram. Let's draw a sketch of our case diagram. I told you guys that you have 0 degrees here, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and 360 degrees. Our case diagram is divided into 4 quadrants. You have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. We also have CAST, which stands for cos or sine and tan. And we also included our reductions in the previous video. We said in the second quadrant you have 180 degrees minus theta. 180 degrees minus theta. In the third quadrant you have 180 degrees plus theta. And in the fourth quadrant you have 360 degrees minus theta. Now this is where we update our case diagram and add our cofunctions. So in the first quadrant, draw a little arrow and write 90 degrees minus theta. And in the second quadrant, draw another arrow and write 90 degrees plus theta. Those are your reductions. That's what you guys will learn today. So I told you guys that different quadrants let you know whether your trig ratios are positive or negative. So we do the same thing that we did when we reduced the differences that we saw between sine and cos. Now let's do the first example so you know what I mean. Number 1, let's do sine 90 degrees minus theta. Sine 90 degrees minus theta. Okay, how do we solve this again? We check what's inside a bracket. You have 90 degrees minus theta. Located on the case diagram, there's 90 degrees minus theta. It's in the first quadrant where sine is positive. I said that in the first quadrant, all the trig ratios are positive. So instead of sine theta, which is how I taught you in the previous video, your answer will be cos theta. When dealing with cofunctions, you swap. Okay, now let's do cos 90 degrees minus theta. 90 degrees minus theta. Let's look for what's inside a bracket. 90 degrees minus theta. Located on the case diagram, that's 90 degrees minus theta. It's in the first quadrant where cos is positive. Okay, so your answer is not cos theta but sine theta. Let's do the third example, sine 90 degrees plus theta. What's inside a bracket? 90 degrees minus theta. Look for it on your case diagram. That's 90 degrees plus theta. It's in the second quadrant where sine is positive. Right? You check this ratio, then you go back to your case diagram. In the second quadrant, sine is positive. So your answer should be cos theta as you swap. Let's do another one. Cos 90 degrees plus theta. Let's look for 90 degrees plus theta in our case diagram. There's 90 degrees plus theta. It's in the second quadrant where cos is negative, right? So your answer should be negative sine theta as you swap between sine and cos. We have sine 90 degrees plus theta over sine 180 degrees minus theta. The first thing that you should do when you get such a fraction in trigonometry is to identify the trig technique that you're working with. In the numerator, we have sine 90 degrees plus theta. This is a cofunction where you swap between sine and cos. So you can just write co-f so that you don't forget. And in the denominator, we have sine 180 degrees minus theta. This is a reduction, what we learned in the previous video, so you can just write RED so that we remember. Now let's solve this. In the numerator, we have sine 90 degrees plus theta. Let's look for it on our case diagram. Where's 90 degrees plus theta? There's 90 degrees plus theta. It's in the second quadrant where sine is positive. So your answer should be cos theta. And this is a cofunction, so you swap between sine and cos. So you have cos theta over sine 180 degrees minus theta. This is a reduction, so we don't swap. Let's locate 180 degrees minus theta on the case diagram. That's 180 degrees minus theta. It's in the second quadrant where sine is positive. So your answer should be sine theta. And that is your answer, cos theta over sine theta. Now let's do the second example. We have sine 360 degrees minus theta over cos 90 degrees plus theta. What's the first step? Identify the trig technique, whether it's a cofunction or a reduction. 360 degrees minus theta is a reduction. So let's write RED. 90 degrees plus theta is a cofunction. We swap between sine and cos. Now let's apply a trig technique. Sine 360 degrees minus theta. Look for it on the case diagram. That's 360 degrees minus theta. It's in the fourth quadrant where sine is negative. So your answer should be negative sine theta. Over, we have cos 90 degrees plus theta. Let's look for 90 degrees plus theta on a case diagram. That's 90 degrees plus theta. It's in the second quadrant where cos is negative. So your answer should be negative sine theta as you swap between sine and cos. This is a cofunction. Don't forget that. Now what's the following step? This is where we cancel. We only have one time in the numerator and one time in the denominator. So this cancels with that. Sine theta cancels with sine theta. And you're left with 1. Before I continue, I'd like to let you know that this video was brought to you by Spotify. Spotify is a music streaming app that gives you access to over 100 million songs. You can stream your favorite artists for free, or you can get the premium version and have access to features like downloading music and streaming offline. For more information, go to open.spotify.com. Link in the description. Now let's do the third example. We have sine 180 degrees minus theta multiplied by cos 360 degrees minus theta over cos 90 degrees minus theta times cos 90 degrees plus theta. What's the first step? You have to identify your trig technique, whether it's a cofunction or a coratio. Whether it's a cofunction or a reduction. So we have sine 180 degrees minus theta. This is a reduction. Let's write RED. 360 degrees minus theta. This is also a reduction. Cos 90 degrees minus theta. This is a cofunction. And lastly, cos 90 degrees plus theta. This is also a cofunction. So we have reduction, the reduction formula in the numerator, and cofunctions in the denominator. Now let's apply our trig techniques. Sine 180 degrees minus theta. 180 degrees minus theta. There it is on the case diagram. It's in the second quadrant where sine is positive. So this becomes sine theta. We don't swap as it's a reduction. Now let's do cos 360 degrees minus theta. 360 degrees minus theta. There's 360 degrees minus theta on the case diagram. It's in the fourth quadrant where cos is positive. So your answer should be cos theta. All over cos 90 degrees minus theta. Let's look for 90 degrees minus theta on a case diagram. That's 90 degrees minus theta. It's in the first quadrant where cos is positive. So this should be this should be sine theta as you swap between sine and cos. Now the last part, cos 90 degrees plus theta. Let's look for 90 degrees plus theta on a case diagram. 90 degrees plus theta. It's in the second quadrant where cos is negative. So your answer should be negative sine theta as you swap between sine and cos. Now the following step would be to multiply the signs. In the numerator we have a positive and a positive. So you can just write this as sine theta multiplied by cos theta over a positive multiplied by a negative, which is negative. So rewrite this as negative sine theta multiplied by sine theta. The following step would be to multiply the trig ratios. We have sine theta multiplied by cos theta, which is sine theta times cos theta. And in the denominator, we have negative sine theta multiplied by sine theta. Sine theta times sine theta is sine squared theta. But in this case, we have a negative, so this should be negative sine squared theta. Don't forget to check your sign always. So this is the part where we divide, where we basically cancel. So we have sine theta in the numerator and sine squared theta in the denominator, so we can cancel. This cancels with that. And we only have cos theta, so we can really cancel it with anything. So our answer would be negative cos theta over, we have sine squared theta. We took out one cos theta, sine theta, so we're left with sine theta. So your final answer is cos theta multiplied by sine theta. And that is how you use your cofunctions in trigonometry. I'll see you guys in the next video, which is about negative angles. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and shout out to Spotify for making this video possible.